Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have been looking at threefold divisions of various things in this chapter. According to what? Gunas. One might wonder, what is this thing having to do with gunas? Why should we revisit the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdashodhyaya? We've already finished this in the 14th chapter. Why are we thinking about gunas all over again? So much focus on gunas. That is for two reasons. One is for ease of understanding. There is a certain kind of an ease of understanding. You have your sattva, you have your rajas, you have your tamas, and then you can put these different mental states, etc., into various categories, and there is a relatability with that. So that is one reason why the gunas are there. Second reason is to show how permeable these gunas are. I mean, how pervasive they are. And at the end of this section, in the 40th verse, it is going to be told that nobody, whether it's a deva or a human being, or who else is there? Asura, of course. None of them are able to come out of the gunas no matter how hard they try. Why? Because this guna framework is very rampant in Maya. And Maya is the one that controls things, and so the guna framework is very, very rampant, and it is not easy to come out of this framework. Either one is tamasic or rajasic or sattvic. So the idea is, as long as one is in the world, to be more and more sattvic. And from tamas you can't suddenly be sattvic, you have to go through rajas and then come to sattva. Sattva also is given up. How is sattva given up? In the wake of the knowledge. All these gunas are what? Little marbles, little playthings with which you play. They are not having any effect on oneself at all, in any which way, at any given time. And so this framework lasts as long as Atma Ajnanam lasts. And so in the 18th chapter, the entire Gita is being revisited, and so too many of the things which we need to revise. Like, how did we begin? The concept of Tyaga. Tyaga we need to revise. Why do we need to revise Tyaga? Because we have forgotten its pronunciation, we have forgotten its meaning. That's why. We need to understand what this Tyaga is, why should I do it, what is it going to help, how is it going to help, and how am I not going to feel deprived as a result of it. All this I have to manage and understand. So therefore Tyaga. After Tyaga, what did we see next? Jnanam. Jnanam. Three ways of looking at knowledge. Then after Jnanam, Karma. Because these are the two pursuits in life, jnana and karma. This has to be understood through the various colorations of the human temperament called sattva, rajas, tamas. So that's the third thing. Then karta. Because doership is the bane of one's existence. The more I identify as the doer, what happens? The more I am done in by the doership. This is what happens. So then that is the fourth thing we discussed. Then fifth thing which we are in the section discussing is what? Dhriti. No, Buddhi. Buddhi. Buddhi is also of three kinds. Satviki, Rajasiki, Tamasiki. And so the Buddhi means what? The thinking portion of the Antahkarana. The Antahkarana comprises Manaha, Buddhi, Chittam, and the one that owns up all three called Ahankara. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chittani, Aham. No, Naham. Na Aham. So, Mano, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. So, together they are known as Manaha, general term. But Manaha, if you take it separately, that means that faculty of the mind which is vacillating. Should I do this? No, I don't think so. Should I study Vedanta or not? Maybe not. Oh, but I think I should. Maybe not. The person is, vacillating. The vacillating faculty is called Manaha. To use Adi Shankara's word, Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. And then finally the person decides, Vedanta is good for me. I am going to study. Nishchayatmika, Vyavasayatmika, Buddhi. In the definition of Buddhi itself it says, Nishchayatmika ya sa Buddhi. So that portion, you can't really see the location of it. This is all just, we feel it, but we can't pinpoint the location because it all belongs to the subtle body. So Nishchayatmika Buddhi means what? Nishchayatmika means that which is the resolve, that which has a certain ability to make a decision. Finally, one makes a decision after seeing this way, that way. When one makes a decision, it is called what? Nishchayatmika. That faculty in the Antahkarana which decides is called Buddhi. Then we have Chittam, the emotive faculty, where all the feelings reside. And then finally we have the one that owns up all three as me. What is that? Ahankara, I notion, ego, whatever you want to call it. So this here, the Buddhi is highlighted because it is the one who is making decisions. And so the three kinds of Buddhi, along with that, thrown in for free is also the discussion of three kinds of Dhriti. Dhriti is again a function of the Buddhi. The use of the free will or resolve is called Dhriti. And so that is mentioned separately because Buddhi has a general function. It reasons, it is into logic, it infers, it makes conclusions and all these things. But Dhriti is the one that gives the Buddhi its Nishchayatmika texture. That is why it is discussed. So then that is 6 things, right? So far, did we count how many things? Tyaga, Jnanam, Karma, Karta, Buddhi, Dhriti. And then finally, Sukham. 7 things are going to be discussed in this particular section from verse 18 to 40. Why? Because these are all very tangible. I feel sukha, I feel dukkha, I know what this is. And so, no one can say Gita does not deal with my experience. In fact, this is all my experience only. My buddhi, my dhriti, my tyaga, my jnanam, my karma, my understanding of myself as what is karta. All this is very much involved. And so, this is this particular section. And again, it is not meant to judge others, which buddhi is sattvic, which buddhi is rajasic, etc. It is not meant to judge oneself either. It is just there as a kind of ideal type categorizations to see where is it that I generally fall for me to correct myself. Gently, softly. That is the idea. So now we enter into the section called Buddhi. We already started to discuss that yesterday, but we will discuss it again. Buddher bhedam dhriteshchaiva gunatastrividham shrinu प्रोच्यमानमशेषेण पृथक्त्वेन धनञ्जय प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च कार्याकार्ये भयाभये बन्धं मोक्षं च या वेत्ति बुद्धिः सा पार्थ सात्विकी. Yeah, we saw the first line, but just to revise, pravritti and nivritti, meaning pravritti and nivritti does not mean what is to be done, what is not to be done, because the next pair of opposites is what? Karya, akarya. That is already there. So pravritti, nivritti has to have a different meaning. We have to look at it separately. So what is pravritti? Pravritti means engagement. Pravritti. Nivritti, withdrawal from various pursuits. Pravritti, pursuits. Nivritti, unpursued. That's all. Withdrawal from various pursuits. And so, a sattvika buddhi naturally knows which pursuits to pursue and from which pursuits to withdraw. Naturally one knows this. Why? How? Because the sattvika buddhi is a nishchayatmika buddhi, which was told in the second chapter that if you want a cross-reference, this verse in the second chapter is being elaborated. I'll tell you in a second. 41, verse 41, 2:41. Chapter 2, verse 41 is being elaborated. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayina. This is exactly what is being elaborated. O Arjuna, make your buddhi strong. Make the decision to study, because that's the only place where there is redemption. Everything else is just spinning the wheels. Pastime, that's all. Like eating peanuts. Pastime, nothing else. So everything else is just contributing to the bandhana, not to moksha. Everything else is spinning the wheels. Therefore, understand out of dharma, artha, kama and moksha, which one are you going to follow? And if I say I am going to follow artha kama, then what should you say? Ayushman bhava. Yeah, live long, that's all. Nothing else to say. So, I need to know what to follow. I need to know what to... When I am pursuing something actively, certain things have to be given up, naturally. I am not like Mother Durga. I don't have 20 arms that I can pursue 100 things at the same time. I cannot. I can only pursue this much and give it a certain attention. Otherwise, if I have one finger in every situation, then nothing goes well. All the activities go bad. So even in the day-to-day, forget Vedanta, even in the day-to-day, I have to decide what to pursue and what to withdraw from. Similarly, even the relationship, what kinds of people are worth my while and what kind of people are not. Sometimes, you put a lot in a connection. And then what? There is not enough coming back. It's not nurturing. It's not bringing the best out of myself. In fact, it may even be bringing the worst out of me. And so here I am putting everything, putting all my attention to this particular connection. I have to think, what is it about this connection that has caught me like this? Why am I putting so much thing when from that end, nothing is coming back, or whatever is coming back, I find the worst of myself coming out. And so maybe there is something to clean up here. Maybe there is something to reform here. This is what I have to think. So where should I engage? Or if it is still worth the engagement, I have to change so that I can continue to engage. Maybe, maybe it's too easy to say, I am going to just let go of this. How many things can you let go of? That means what? In the Himalayas also you will have to let go of the one or two people you see once a month. Even that you will have to let go of. So you can't let go of everybody. So that means what? If there is something worth it, but there is a kind of what is that called? Polarity rub between myself and the other person, then I have to see how to reform certain things within me so that I learn from this engagement. And if I choose to withdraw, then I learn from the withdrawal as well. This is the Satviki Buddhi with regard to Pravritti Nivritti. Which things should I pursue? Which things are not the right time? Maybe they are the right pursuits, but right now I don't have, this would become a distraction. Like if I'm meditating, then what? Scrolling the Facebook page is what? Distraction. If I'm scrolling the Facebook page, then if I suddenly decide to meditate, that would be a distraction. So what am I doing? And how to, when I'm doing that one thing, then there is a kind of a focus. That is a Sattvika Buddhi. Lord Krishna does not believe in what is that called? Multitasking. Multitasking is, actually it doesn't help. We think we are being very efficient, but we have become an expert of doing haphazardly many things at the same time. That is what is multitasking. So then, this is the Sattviki Buddhi which knows when to engage, when to disengage, how to engage, how to disengage, how much to engage, how much to let go. Then, Karya, Akarya. What is to be done, what is not to be done. That's also very confusing. What to do, how to do, when not to do. That also we stumble all over ourselves and eventually figure it out. Or we so think. So then Bhaya and Abhaya. Yesterday I talked about Bhaya and Abhaya as insecurity. Insecurity and security. And that is, that's a valid way to look at it. But we can also look at it in a different way. Insecurity, security, but we can also take simple Bhaya and Abhaya. Bhaya, Abhaya. So, a Sattvic Buddhi knows what is the cause of fear. I know myself enough to know that I am not capable right now of being around a tiger, sharing the space with a tiger, right? So I know that's not my capacity. So then what do? I have to run away. There is not this daredevilry. I am a Vedantin. I am an Advaitin. And I am a Vedantin. And the tiger is what? Mithya. Yeah, it reminds me of that poem. A young lady from Niger, smiled as she rode a tiger. They returned from the ride with a lady inside and a smile on the face of the tiger. That's what's going to happen. That's how it will end up. So I don't go into daredevil situation. There is no reason for this daredevilry. Pujya Swamiji used to tell about this story about this man who was a Vedantin. And then what happened? One day he heard a rustling. He had gone with some friends to the woods for a picnic. He heard some rustling in the woods and there was a tiger and there was no time to run away. So he got an idea because there was a big pit somebody had dug. So he said, we'll all hide in this pit. And then he said, I am going to save all of you. Those who are afraid of the tiger, first I will jump into this big pit and all of you lie on top of me. Meaning what? And the tiger will take the top for the pick. That is the idea. So here that man was very practical. And so like this, when there is a situation of fear which cannot be immediately overcome, I respect that buddhi. I respect myself. I respect my boundaries. I respect my limits. There is nothing to show off. There is nothing to say, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Just say right now it's not possible. Sorry. And in that acknowledgement, the boundaries give way a little more because there is a relaxation into this. It's very, very nice. And so, karya karye, bhaya bhaye. And then what? Then karya karye, bhaya bhaye. Then last pair, bandham and moksha. One knows what are the kinds of engagements that are going to further embroil me into samsara. A person of knowledge does not want what? Samsara. A karma yogi does not want more entanglements. And so, in situations which are entangling, I disentangle myself from too much involvement in these kinds of situations. So that is that is what kind of a buddhi would that be? Sattvic buddhi, which knows all this. It knows itself. It knows what to do, what not to do in any situation. It's a very clever buddhi. Then we come to, what's the next one? Rajasic buddhi. Yaya dharmam dharmancha. Yaya dharmam dharmancha. Karyancha karyameva cha. Karyancha karyameva cha. Karyancha karyameva cha. Ayathavat prajanati. Ayathavat prajanati. Buddhissa partha rajasi. Buddhissa partha rajasi. This is confusing because the first line is just like the first line in the other one. We almost do a double take. We say, what is this? You know, dharma, adharma, karya, everything is the same. But the first word of the second line clinches the difference. Ayathavat janati. Yathavat means that anushasanam anatikramya, without transgressing the teachings. Yathavat, exactly how it is told, the person understands. Here in the Rajasic buddhi, ayathavat means wrong understanding. What is dharma? If you ask the person, it will be a wishy-washy definition. They might say, sometimes it is expedient to lie and sometimes it is not. Okay, come on, tell me one thing. Is it wrong to lie or is it wrong to not lie? What is wrong? What is the correct answer? Well, it depends on the situation. Because the person might say, I am Robin Hood. Everybody knows Robin Hood, right? Stole from the rich in order to give to the poor. Robin Hood means what? Self-styled. Robbing Hood. Okay? Yeah. So there is some, in the Rajasika buddhi, there is some idea of what one wants to do. There is some idea of how one wants to bring about some kinds of a thing. and then very daring buddhi it is, and then dharma, adharma are put upside down. Karya, akarya are again put upside down, and then there is elaborate commentaries, longer than Adi Shankara's, of why I am doing this, justification by the Rajasic buddhi. Because it's always difficult to justify when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. The justification is difficult, but nonetheless, this kind of a buddhi will try. So dharma, adharma is confusing. What is to naturally, then what is to be done, what is not to be done is also confusing. Consequently, ayathavat prajanati, everything is understood ulta, wrongly understood. Sa buddhi syat rajasi. Then next one, adharmam dharmamitiya. Adharmam dharmamitiya. Manyate tamasavrita. Manyate tamasavrita. Sarvarthan viparitamscha. Sarvarthan viparitamscha. Buddhissa partha tamasi. Buddhissa partha tamasi. At least in the other one it was understood wrongly. Here the person is convinced that what is dharma is actually adharma. And what is adharma is what? Dharma. They will argue. If you want to succeed in business, you have to lie. There is no such thing as an honest business person. They are convinced. How can there be an honest business person? You have to lie. You have to keep 2 sets of accounts, books. 2 sets of books have to be kept, and you have to lie, and you have to save on the taxes. So you have to tell lies to the taxman, the taxing agency, and then you have to tell lies here, tell lies there, and then it doesn't happen otherwise. So how does the person understand dharma? As adharma. Hiranyakashipu is a very good example. Taking the Lord's name, he told his only child, what? Is adharma. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. The child was saying constantly. As soon as the boy learned how to talk, he was saying Om Namo Narayanaya. And then before he got angry, Hiranyakashipu picked up his son, put him on the lap and said, Beta, you are doing papa. You are committing papa karma. And the child is confused. The child says, how can taking the name of the Lord be papa karma? How can I be committing papa? Yeah, because your father is the only God. You need to know. How? Matrudevo bhava, pitrudevo bhava. He quotes from the Shastra selectively. And then he just justifies. And he says, you're doing papa. Nobody wants to hear Narayana. In fact, I want to make the whole kingdom chant my name. Why? Because he has some narcissistic personality disorder, that's all. So what does he say? Everybody should say, Om Hiranyaya Namaha, day in and day out. Everybody was afraid because they were shown the sword and they were shown the jail. They would be killed or imprisoned. So out of fear they all chanted Hiranyaya Namaha. There was only one holdout, his own son. This is a tamasi buddhi. He didn't stop. He tried to have his own child killed. He tried to have his own child killed. He tried to talk. He tried to do all kinds of things. And so, so this is the tamasi buddhi, which makes dharma do a shirashasana, stand on its head. And then sarvartha viparitamsha. Sarvartha means in every situation, all wrong understanding, opposite understanding is done, and that is what is called tamasi buddhi. And then then the three kinds of dhritis are going to be talked about. Let us chant that. Dhritya yaya dharayate manav pranendriya kriyaha yogena vyabhicharinya dhritis sa partha satviki yaya tu dharma kamarthan dhritya dharayate arjuna prasangena phalakankshi dhritis sa partha rajasi yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madameva cha na vimunchati durmedha dhritis sa partha tamasi yaya avyabhicharinya dhritya dharayate. This is the anvaya. Yaya, by which avyabhicharinya, unwavering, dhritya, resolve, by which unvarying resolve, dharayate, is sustained what? Kriyaha, the actions. What kind of actions? Manaha, pranaha, indriyani. So, mana, prana, indriyani, kriyaha, yaya, avyabhicharinya, dhritya, dharayate. By which firm and unwavering resolve the mind, pranic actions, mental actions, and then sense actions of the sense organs are sustained. Know that to be Satviki Dhriti. Satviki Dhriti. This is just the translation. I will explain in a second. Let me make sure that we have seen all the words. Yeah, this is the Satviki resolve. So usually what happens, the Manaha, the Prana, the Indriyas, all these are going in different ways. The mind says, I want one thing, and the Buddhi says, I want something else. In every heart there is a Mahabharata. In every heart there is a Kurukshetra. Dharma and Adharma are fighting inside. Or Raga Dveshas are fighting. One Raga is fighting with another Raga for supremacy. One Raga is in conflict with another Dvesha for supremacy. There is a lot of inner chaos. There is a lot of inner confusion. But here, a Satviki resolve where the free will is surrendered to the knowledge is a Satviki Dhriti. And that free will here is that resolve which does not waver. From what? From being on a path of disciplining the organs of actions. Prana here would mean organs of actions, because it is powering the organs of actions and the sense organs and the mind. So once I discipline them, once I use the free will to discipline them, then I am not carried away. That is the whole idea. I am not carried away. I am not carried away by my wavering resolve. So where the resolve is wavering, today maybe, tomorrow lukewarm, maybe little hot, no, cold. So the desire for anything, let's take the desire for moksha because that is the most pertinent. The desire for moksha runs hot and cold depending upon the situation. There is not enough mental training and there is not enough what's its name? Understanding of how the self-knowledge takes place. There is only a little bit of resolve needed to study, meaning you have to bring yourself here. Otherwise, the study doesn't happen. Or if you're taking a class online, you have to bring yourself and sit down in front of what? Computer. You have to sit down in front of the computer. You have to bring yourself here if it is an in-person class, and you have to sit and listen. Little bit of decision and dhriti is there. But after that, what? After that, it just happens. Knowledge happens. I am, because the knowledge is dependent not on me. It is pramana jnana. It is dependent upon the unfolding of the means of knowledge called Shabda, Shastra, by a teacher who knows how to handle the pramana. That is how the knowledge takes place. Like supposing if there is something to see and you can't help but see it. If the pramana is there, you can't help but see it. Supposing I keep the flower here and say, please look at the flower, but do not look at my face. Can you oblige? No matter how much Shraddha you have, can you oblige? No. Because if you look at the flower, the face will be seen. Why? Because it's in the line of the sight. Similarly, if the pramana called Shastra is there, and when the dhriti is there to study, and the resolve is there to open the heart, knowledge has to take place. There is no other possibility. So really the free will is not involved in knowing at all. In knowing the flower, free will is not involved. In knowing yourself as Brahman, also the free will is not involved. If the free will is involved, then we will make lots of mistakes, because we will never understand, the person will never understand he or she is Brahman. On good days, they will say, what? Kabhi kabhi I am Brahman. Sometimes I am Brahman, most of the times I am not. This is what they will say. Occasionally I am Brahman. But that's not what the Shastra says. That's not how it is. And so what is the use of the free will is very beautiful discussion in the next three verses. The free will is, here dhriti means the free will is used to understand that moksha is through knowledge. Why? Because moksha is already gained. Moksha is not something to be gained. It is already me. And who is this me? The one who is free. That me. I am free. In fact, seeking freedom is nothing but freedom from seeking. That's what it is. That's all it is. And so, because the freedom is already there. But then why do I feel bound? I feel bound because I do not understand that I am already free. So what do I need? Standing on one leg and doing japa, correct? No. No. That is of not much use. Maybe it will help the mind. But here, there is no free will involved. There is no action involved powered by free will. I don't know, I have to know. The knowledge has to come and knock off the ignorance. And here I am, knowing that I was even the one who came to the knowledge already had moksha. It's not that now you have moksha and 6 months ago when you came you did not have moksha. No. Then also you had moksha. 3 months later into the course also you had moksha. Now also you have moksha. Oh, why am I here? Why didn't you tell us this before? Well, you are here because there is a certain uncovering and a discovering that is needed. This fact that I am already free has to be discovered. It is under the heap of the debris of raga, dvesha and all kinds of wrong ideas, ideologies, notions which have been piled up. So that resolve, which is the resolve to study, which ends up in disciplining the body-mind sense complex and the sense organs and the organs of action the buddhi chooses, and the dhriti clinches this choice. And that kind of a dhriti is called sattviki dhriti. Then the next one says, yayatu, whereas by which dhriti dharma kamarthan dhritya dharayate. Here the free will in the Rajasika dhriti, the free will is being actively used for what? Dharma, artha and kama pursuits. Do you see moksha anywhere in the second verse? No, bye-bye. So, because the focus is on dharma, artha, kama. Oh, but at least dharma is there. Here dharma has a different meaning. What is the meaning here? The meaning of dharma is punya. The person is a punyaholic, wants lots of punya. Because if I have punya, the person thinks I will have lots of money. If I have punya, I will have fame. If I have punya, I will become very well known in the society. Everybody will call me to the front. I will be given the front row. Where are you sitting now? Now I am sitting in the second row. What's the difference between the second row and the first row? You don't know. There is all this VIP. Only those people who sit in the front row. I want to sit in the front row. That is the idea. In every situation, I have to have mana, I have to have honor, I have to have all kinds of, what should I say, outward displays of validation. Everybody has to be telling me how approvable I am. When? Every 3 minutes, that's all. Everybody has to keep telling me that and assuring me that. Why? Because the Rajasika person is in search of self-approval. The first one is also in search of self. The Sattviki Dhriti is also in search of self-approval, but the methods are varying. The Sattviki Dhriti, the free will which is Sattvik, and has come to understand a very, very important fact. And what is that? That is that there is something wrong with seeking self-approval. If I keep seeking, what will happen? Nobody can fill up this big black hole of this want in my heart. Nobody can fill it up. I have to fill it up, or rather I have to know that it's not really there. It is a superimposition, as it were, on that aham which is free of any kind of insecurity, fear or the need for validation. It is a self. The I, the Atma, is a self that is eminently happy and approvable in nature. It is totally approvable. The self happens to be approvable, and that has to be discovered. But instead, if I look for self-approval where? Everywhere where the self is not, then this is like, it's like looking for the grandma's embroidery needle. You know that story, right? No? So the grandma lost her embroidery needle, and there was a lot of now everybody says ha. Lot of people came to help. Half an hour of search yielded nothing until one young person asked, "Grandma, where did you lose it?" And what did the grandma say? "Back in my hut." Then why are we looking for it in the village square? I don't have electricity in my house. I thought we look for it in a lit place. Makes no sense at all. Looking for self-approval where are you looking for self-approval? Among the so-called other selves who are also what? Seeking self-approval. So by the time you finish seeking approval, in order to get a small little scrap of approval, you have to approve of 10 other people first. You have to placate them, you have to say you are the best, east or west, and you have to make them feel happy. Then they will give a little scrap of approval. And after that what? It starts all over again. And so, therefore, the free will that has understood that this is the problem, which is aligned with the buddhi that has understood that this basic problem, instead decides to focus on discovering this approval which is actually centered on the self. I am eminently approvable. This is what is called Satviki Dhriti. Rajasi Dhriti is very outwardly focused. It doesn't have this understanding. So what does it do? It looks for approval everywhere and it actively pursues punya, religious merit, so that everybody will say, oh, I didn't know you were so devout. In 1 month you have sponsored 3 yajnas. How wonderful. Very, very nice of you. And then that is again some approval. Arthakama pursuits become very, very big, because for the person feeling insecure, having things, having people around makes them feel secure, at least for the time being. Makes them feel means just temporarily. And then this becomes the use of the free will by who? By the Rajasic resolve. And then the Tamasic resolve, poor thing, yaya swapnam. Swapnam here doesn't mean dream. What does it mean? Sleep. Bhayam, fear, shokam, sorrow, vishadam, despondency, madam, intoxication. Navimunchati. That resolve, I don't know if we should call it resolve, that quote-unquote resolve, through which it is not possible to give up excessive sleepiness, fear-based decisions, sorrow, despondency and addictive behaviors, is called tamasi dhriti. So sad. But it is again an ideal type. We saw in the 6th chapter, yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtascha karmasu yukta swapnavabodhascha yogo bhavati dukkha. Yukta swapnavabodhasya yogaha bhavati dukkha. Dukkham hanti iti dukkha. The dukkha killing yoga was described in the 6th chapter. What is it that kills sorrow right here, right now? Forget Atma Jnanam, because that takes time to assimilate and find out. Right now, on the everyday level, how can I help? Do everything in moderation. The 6th chapter sounds like a lesson from the pages of Buddhism. It's all about the following the middle path. Neither too much of this way nor too much of that way. Yukta ahara, eat in moderation. The person who is eating in moderation. And then vihara, the person who is moving in moderation. Not saying I'm going to run a marathon, 25 miles every day I'm going to run. No need. Okay? And then or I'm going to spend 6 hours per day at the gym. Why? That's the question one would have. And so yukta vihara and yukta cheshta. Cheshta means lot of, again, movement. Hand movement, leg movement. Unnecessarily it is not done. And yukta swapna means adequate sleep. Yukta avabodha, adequate times of waking. Yogaha bhavati dukkha. This was told. Which number is that? 6th chapter. Yogo bhavati dukkha. Dukkha. Dukkham hanti. It's a killer yoga. 17? 17, yeah. 6:17. So, yogo bhavati dukkha. It kills the sorrow right then and there. But here, this poor person whose buddhi is also tamasic, and this dhriti, the free will, is also tamasic. What is the free will has completely gone to seed, basically, like a wild plant gone to seed. Nothing is coming out of it. And so, what does this do? It clings. What the tamasic dhriti clings. To what does it cling? It clings to It clings to excessive sleep. It clings to fear. It's always afraid of everything and everybody. It clings to sorrow. It clings to despondency. It clings to anything addictive because it is very, very insecure. It's durmedha, means wrong decisions. The buddhi that is making, that is in cahoots with the free will, that is given to wrong decisions. It is a tamasi buddhi. This is the very, very sad note to end on the dhriti section. So then we have 36, 37 and 38 talking about, 36, 37, 38 and 39 talking about the three kinds of sukha, different kinds of sukha, again based on sattva, rajas, tamas. Let us read. Sukham tvidanim trividham, shrinu me bharatarshabha. I lost the thing. Abhyasadramate yatra, dukkhantancha nigacchati, yattadagre vishamiva, pariname mritopamam, tat sukham satvikam proktam, atma buddhi prasadajam. O Arjuna, Bharatarshabha, the foremost in the Bharata clan, idanim, now, meaning a different topic is being started. Idanim trividham sukham shrinu me shrinu. Listen from me the three kinds of happinesses that I am going to tell you. And what are the three kinds? Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Same distinctions. Listen to me about the topic of three kinds of happinesses which I am going to reveal to you. Very beautiful discussion this is. So first one he says, Abhyasad ramate, that in which one revels due to practice. Abhyasa means repeated practice. Bringing the mind repeatedly back to the pleasant. How do I bring it back to the pleasant when everything is unpleasant? Exactly, that's how. By actually bringing it back to the pleasant. Now even the doctors have understood this. They say, please keep a, what is that called? Gratitude journal. So that no matter how bitter one is, before starting the day and then before going to sleep at night, write down 3 to 5 things. Sometimes 3 things, sometimes 5 things. They will give some assignment that are actually wonderful in your life. No matter how terrible the life is going, one may feel, there will always be things that are wonderful. Search out them, seek them out and write them. Actually, when you write them, don't just think them, write them. When you write them, what happens? You naturally revel in that. Oh, my life is terrible, I can't even find 3 things. That day you should find 5 things, not 3 things. This is the abhyasa. It is called pratipaksha bhavana. Not believing in the lies of mithya. Not letting the mind control this narrative. There will be something that's going well. Even if nothing is going well, okay, I was by the Ganga. That itself is enough. I saw a small child. It smiled at me. And then that is the child smiled. Wonderful. Something was very funny. 2 dogs were chasing each other. It was hilarious. That was funny. Just a split second moment of lightness. You write that down. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. Now they are doing this gratitude journal. They got it all from this particular verse and this particular chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Abhyasad ramate. This Ramanam, this revelry is not something we are used to. It is very easy to talk about what is not going well. It's very easy to talk about the doldrums. It's very easy to complain. It's very easy to say this is not right to anybody who will listen. We can just catch hold of somebody, make them sit down and tell them all our complaints. But then hard it is by comparison to dwell on the pleasant. So turning the mind repeatedly back to the pleasant is not faking it at all. It is in fact making it. Why is it not faking it? Because your disposition is already like that. This other thing, the doldrums, are an imposter. They are the interloper. So therefore, I come back to the pleasant. And whenever I am with the pleasant, I am with the present. And the present is timeless. The present is now. Now is free of sorrow. Abhyasad ramate. Until when? Dukkhantam nigacchati. Until that sorrow bout is gone. That is called sattviki, not buddhi. Satvikam sukham. Then, continuing with the discussion of Satvikam Sukham, it says, Yattadagre Vishamiva Pariname Amrita Upamam. So in the beginning, the Satvika Sukha is like toxin, poison. And then later on, it is like a sweet nectar. Sweet nectar? Poison? What are we talking about? Just this is how it is. Like, we'll have to spend much more time on this, but in the little time we have left, I'll just introduce this and then we'll pick it up. So, for example, before one comes to Vedanta, one has become an adept. How to keep busy all the time, so that I don't have to feel my feelings. I do this, I do that, and then people are very proud of how busy they are. Oh, I'm very busy, I'm doing a lot. Why are you doing a lot? You ask, they will not have an answer. They will just say, I'm busy, this is how life is. And then what? You come to the ashram, there is a relaxation. Finally, it is safe enough to feel unsafe. There is nothing to do. You don't have to cook, you don't have to maintain life, you don't have to pay bills, at least not here. And then you can just relax and let go. And when one relaxes and let goes, what happens? All the things that one had been suppressing, comes up. In a way that one never anticipated. In a way where one never, this was like blindsided. One is blindsided by this tsunami of feelings, by this volcanic sense of being taken over. And then it is easy to say this. And people have told me this. Until I came to study Vedanta with you, I was fine. That's how it feels like. That's how it feels like. That, see, because the mind makes certain association. Before Vedanta, busy, doing the things one liked, doing the things one did not like, whatever it was. There were disappointments, there were everything, there were some highs and lows, and somehow managed to live. Now Vedanta, yes, Vedanta is supposed to be wonderful. If Vedanta is supposed to be wonderful, why do I feel so terrible? Something must be wrong. Even in the churning of the ocean, my friends, what came out first? Hala hala visha, which the Lord took it. And his Shakti, through his Shakti, neutralized it. That is what it is. The collective unconscious came up. And then the collective unconscious can only be neutralized, absorbed, and made benign by the Lord. Here we are barely even able to handle the individual unconscious. The individual unconscious mind, which is the seat of all kinds of pains, sorrows, suppressed, depressed, repressed, everything from childhood, sometimes even from previous births. It's all there. And that is the inner child and the adult. This is the duality that Vedanta does not even spare. Vedanta does not let me have even this duality. And so Vedanta then teaches me how to, the Guru also teaches me how to take care of these feelings, how to take care of this bundle of feelings, which is that of a 2-year-old. And who is this person? 92. But then still the 2-year-old is running the show. So how to reparent this 2-year-old and how to do that, all that we'll see in the next class on Tuesday. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.